Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very exciting update tonight. Now, even though I'm doing this week's video update a day early, obviously on the Wednesday instead of the Thursday, it's already been a massive week already. And the best thing is I'm going to start off with a huge win that hopefully many of you will be excited about. So, as many of you, I'm sure, know, the good old Herald Sun recently ran a story on sovereign citizens that included my name and my photograph, and they were making all sorts of inaccurate claims about the work that I do and supposedly the beliefs that I have and how I'm a leading light in the sovereign citizen movement, you know, whatever the hell that means. Now, you might recall that there was a print version under the wonderful heading of Mad, Bad and Dangerous. So that's the one that came out in print. And then they had an online version that came under the title of Sovereign Citizens Are Spin Doctors and Con Artists. And again, they had a special little online section all about me. Well, as I said I would at the time, I did, of course, challenge all of that. And I explained that I would not be allowing that to proceed. And I'm very happy to announce that just yesterday I received a letter from the lawyers for the Herald Sun. And as you can see here in the highlighted section, they've said, however, as a gesture of good faith and without admission of liability, given the concerns you have raised, our client has removed any reference to you from the online article. So if you want to go and look at that online article now, you'll see that all references to me have been removed. Now, I want to make it clear that I explained all of this at the time to the reporter. I spoke to him for 20 minutes. I explained why the phrase sovereign citizen was an oxymoron. There was no such thing. I explained why I most assuredly wasn't one. And of course, I also provided absolute proof that all of our information and all of our strategies work exactly as we teach them. So, the clear point that I want to make here is that I actually followed the law, which of course does apply equally to everybody. And by following proper due process, okay, I've received that confirmation from the Herald Sun lawyers. Now, again, the key is following the law. I started with just a formal complaint to the editor. Okay, that didn't get the desired result. So then I went to the next legal process, which is called a concerns notice. It's a formal notice that was sent to the Herald Sun and to their lawyers. And again, we were waiting for that. And then I put in a formal complaint to the Australian Press Council. Okay, and after following all of those steps, following proper due process and following the law, we got the result that we were after. Now, of course, it would have been a nice little touch if they'd issued an apology, but at the end of the day, the point was that they've removed me from that online article, and that, of course, speaks volumes, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to why they have chosen to do that. But the key is, if I can get a huge win like that, the Herald Sun to remove me from an entire article, then you guys can certainly, challenge the odd fine or an unsecured credit card or something like that. You just have to follow the law and follow proper due process. So I do want to do a very special shout out and thanks to everyone that emailed and offered their support after that article came out. And again, when you challenge things properly, you absolutely can get the desired result. All right, now speaking of getting results, I've spoken a couple of times on recent video updates about the huge number of people in the UK who have been pushing back against this proposed introduction of the digital ID, and it just seems to keep getting worse and worse for poor old Keir Starmer, who stupidly thought that people were just going to roll over and buy into it. So here is the latest article, and the reason I'm sharing this is because the principles in this article obviously apply in a very similar way here in Australia. So this is what it says. Starmer's digital ID dream is already a real nightmare. It took Keir Starmer just 26 seconds to announce a national digital ID program late on Friday afternoon. But did he realise quite what he was getting into, how badly things were going, or how bad they were about to get? Number 10 promised us a system with security at its core, but the news I can share from the project here today suggests the contrary to his statement. The conceit that underlies digital ID is that since millions of us already have been roped into a new digital identity system, Michael Gove's One Login, then only a dab of legislation would need to be needed to complete the exercise. Labor wonks proposed rebranding a smartphone app called the gov.uk wallet, similar to your Apple or Google wallet. This would be built on top of the One Login platform to hold various credentials like your driver's license. So digital ID would be here before anyone really realised it. We would be boiled so quickly we wouldn't even realise we were in the pot. 12 million One Login identities have been created, and it will be nearer 20 million by the end of the year as company officers are forcibly enrolled by Companies House, where it will be compulsory from November 18. Now, this, of course, is why they tried the Director ID through ASIC and the ABRS here in Australia. Now, thankfully, that failed miserably, but unfortunately, it seems as though they got that across the line in the UK. And that's why we warned everybody back when the Director ID was rolled out, don't even start at that point. This must have seemed very clever at the time, but the reality of One Login is that the security guarantees to the public are worth nothing. One Login isn't even a safe or trusted identity supplier according to the UK government's own official assessment. It used to be, but it lost its formal trust certification against the standard framework operated by the government's technology department. The ID bandwagon rolls on with the disaster now apparent to everyone, it seems, except number 10. So, it's great to see that the truth about the true dangers of digital ID really are starting to come out. And, of course, people in the UK are pushing back in the millions, which is obviously fantastic to see. Now, if you want to achieve the same results here in Australia, then please, I urge you to add your signature to the official government petition. So again, this one does hold weight because it is an official government petition. And you can see that petition there, and it's entitled Australians Say No to Digital ID. So you can look this up online. Otherwise, there will be a link going up in the comment section if you're watching this on Facebook. Otherwise, just do a search for petition EN8467, Australians Say No to Digital ID. And this is what it says very quickly. Petition reasons to oppose digital ID. Number 1, privacy. A digital ID would centralise sensitive information, making it easier for governments or corporations to track and monitor everyday life. Number 2, data security, something we've spoken about many times. Centralised systems are prime targets for hackers. A single breach could expose millions of Australians at once. Number 3, loss of choice. Risk of becoming de facto mandatory as services may refuse traditional IDs, leaving citizens with no real alternative. Number 4, civil liberties. Could be linked to banking, healthcare, travel, or digital wallets, opening the door to restrictions on basic freedoms. Number 5, government overreach. Absolutely. Once established, scope could expand into surveillance far beyond its original purpose. History shows that such systems rarely shrink. Number 6, equality issues. Many Australians, especially the elderly, rural or disadvantaged, may struggle with the technology, leading to exclusion from essential services. Number 7, lack of transparency. Australians have not been given a direct say on this major change, nor full clarity on how data will be used. Number 8, irreversible, and this is a key. Once rolled out, it will be almost impossible to roll back, even if harmful consequences emerge. Number 9, unnecessary. Current forms of ID already work effectively without creating new risks. At the end of the day, you've got to put the current forms of ID into the digital ID to create the digital ID. So why not just use the current forms of ID as they are anyway? Number 10, erosion of trust. Forcing citizens into a digital-only compliance undermines confidence in government and weakens democratic choice. We therefore ask the House to reject the implementation of a national digital ID system and protect Australians' rights to privacy and freedom of choice. So it's just open now. There's about 6,000 signatures. And it is open until the 5th of November. So that's not a lot of time. So please make sure you add your signature to that petition. So important. And look, let's get 2.8 million signatures like they did in the UK, and let's blow this thing wide open. All right, now, as the last article explained, and as is reflected again there in that petition, one of the biggest issues with the rollout of digital ID is online security and stability. Now, of course, the other huge news of this past week was the major server outage that took down some of the biggest websites in the entire world. Now, in case you missed that story, here are the details. So as you can see there, it is entitled World's Biggest Websites Apps Affected as Amazon Web Services Reports Major Issues. Some of the world's biggest apps and websites have been impacted by a widespread outage linked to a technical issue with Amazon Web Services, AWS. Roblox, Snapchat, Fortnite, Reddit, Canva and Duolingo were among the services to go down, according to website Down Detector. The problems, which diminished gradually from about 9 p.m, appear to stem from AWS, which provides infrastructure for many major websites and apps. Reports of problems with the hugely popular services began to surge between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. today and remained high for more than an hour in many cases. Snapchat was still dealing with issues late into the night. Video streaming services such as Disney+, Amazon Prime and 9Now, which is owned by the publisher of this website, were also affected. Popular encrypted messaging service Signal had reports of its service being down. The currency trading app Coinbase confirmed many of its users were unable to access its service. The outage was also reportedly affecting some overseas banks, including the Bank of Scotland. Down Detector showed a huge list of sites and apps that users were reporting errors with, including Fortnite, Hinge, Tinder, the PlayStation Network, Xbox, Steam, Pokemon Go, Zoom, Zero, Snapchat, Roblox and Ring. Users also reported difficulty accessing Amazon services, including Amazon.com, Alexa, and Prime Video. It's not clear what caused the DNS outage, but it lasted only a few hours. So still, they don't even know what caused it. So if they don't know what caused it, they can't provide any sort of certainty or guarantee that it might not happen again. Now, essentially, the key point that I want to make from all of that is that in the world of outages, that was a major one. Okay, that was a doozy. So just stop and think for just one moment. What would happen if everyone was forced into some form of digital ID and then the server that all of that data was being hosted on all of a sudden went down because of a DNS issue or something like that? I mean, just imagine the host of things that you simply wouldn't be able to do, and then please understand why we absolutely must stop any and every push towards a digital ID in any form. But of course, wait, there's more. It gets even worse, because not only was there that major outage this week, but one of Australia's largest telcos actually got hacked on the weekend as well. Now, if you missed that story, here it is here. And this is what it says. More than 1,600 customers of Dodo and iPrimus impacted by cybersecurity breach. Another Aussie company has been hit by a cybersecurity breach, with more than 1,600 customers of Telco, Dodo and iPrimus being impacted by a data breach of the company's email and mobile services. The hack, which occurred on Friday, was announced yesterday by Vocus, the parent company of Dodo and iPrimus. Our initial investigation has revealed unauthorized access to approximately 1,600 Dodo email accounts, leading to unauthorized SIM swaps on 34 Dodo mobile accounts. So they've electronically swapped SIMs, and God only knows what they've done once they've had access to that data. We've worked with impacted customers to reverse these SIM swaps, and we continue to monitor this situation. Oh, well, I feel a whole lot better. Email services were temporarily suspended by the company, the spokesperson said. Vocus has said they had restored email services for customers on Sunday morning. The two companies account for 9.2% of the NBN in Australia, making it the fourth largest provider in the country. Okay, so again, this is a major issue. Again, I'll just ask you this one simple question. If the fourth largest telco in the entire country can't keep your data safe, then what hope does the government have? And of course, the answer is absolutely none. Okay, so don't hand over any details to them in the first place. Okay, it's like the director ID. Once you signed up, you can't take it back. It's there for life. Once you hand over and you sign up for any form of digital ID, you can't reverse it. So please reject it, push back against it, whatever you want to call it, at every single opportunity. Now, the other thing that I want to make clear is that the digital ID is only one. It's only one of the steps that they're really pushing for. What they ultimately want, of course, is full biometric data from everybody. And then that, of course, is going to be linked to this cashless society and the CBDCs that they keep pushing for. Now, to prove to you categorically that this is not some kind of conspiracy theory or something that might possibly happen one day down the track, have a listen to what just happened to 86 million bank accounts, okay, in Vietnam just last month. Again, I urge you, go and read this article for yourselves so you understand the true impact of this. So the title is Vietnam closes 86 million bank accounts over missing biometric verification. Starting September 1st, Vietnam has decided to permanently close more than 86 million bank accounts that did not comply with the new facial biometric authentication requirements. The remaining 113 million accounts have been subjected to verification under the new anti-fraud and anti-money laundering regulations. The situation has particularly impacted foreigners residing in the Asian country. A Reddit user, a former international contractor, reported being forced to return to Vietnam in person to avoid the closure of his HSBC account, as remote solutions for biometric verification were not available. This is a very insidious way to do a bail-in while also increasing the surveillance state, commented Marty Bent. According to Daniel Batten, researcher and co-founder of CH4 Capital, these measures give the Vietnamese central bank next-gen financial surveillance ability. The Hanoi government justified the introduction of the new rules by citing the increased use of generative AI and sophisticated spoofing techniques to bypass banking security systems. Last May, local police dismantled a laundering network that used fake facial scans and had moved approximately 1,000 billion Vietnamese dong, or 39 million. So they're telling you that even if you have the biometric scans, it's not going to help you because this laundering network used fake facial scans anyway. So they're admitting that it's not even going to do you any good. It's all about control. The new regulations require facial biometric authentication for first-time registration and online transfers over 10 million dong, which sounds like a lot, but it's only $379. While combined transactions exceeding 20 million dong, or $758, always require biometric verification. Imagine having to verify your biometric data to do something for less than $1,000. Okay, that's what's happening right now. And again, this is why we all need to be pushing back and make sure it doesn't even get off the ground here. Now, speaking of pushing back, I actually came across an interesting article about an ex-police officer turned Labor candidate. So straight away that already made me question her true motives. But she's come out and suggested that Victoria change their legislation regarding the time frame that demerit points apply for. So this is another interesting article that you might want to look up. And it says, former police officer Naomi Oakley says heavy-handed enforcement making drivers lose licences. A former police officer and Labor candidate says more speed cameras and reduced speed zones are making it progressively harder for drivers not to lose their licences on demerit points, and she wants to change that. Naomi Oakley has made a submission to the party asking it to consider cutting the demerit point window from the current 3 years to 2 because of the disproportionate pressure on everyday drivers. Ms Oakley, who contested the seat of Casey at the federal election in May this year, said she believed heavy enforcement had made it progressively harder for drivers to stave off licence suspension on demerit grounds. The current penalty framework, combined with the growing number of speed cameras across suburban and urban areas, is placing disproportionate pressure on everyday drivers, her submission says. This is particularly evident in relation to the 3-year demerit point accumulation window, which is resulting in higher levels of licence suspensions and, subsequently, unlicensed driving. Post-COVID, there has been a marked increase in speed cameras, including in built-up and suburban streets where speed has not historically been a significant issue. Hello, we've been talking about this for years. Urban speed zones have decreased. Example, 40 kilometres an hour to 30 kilometres an hour, amplifying the impact of minor breaches. She said the unintended consequence of a 3-year time frame was drivers losing their licences because of a build-up of minor infractions over an extended period. A 2-year window is a more balanced response measure for low-level or infrequent offences, avoiding excessive penalties for otherwise responsible drivers, she said. Reducing the demerit point window from 3 years to 2 years will maintain road safety while delivering a fairer, more balanced system that supports both compliance and community well-being. Well, look, I'm not entirely sure that I believe everything that she says there. Personally, and again, this is just my personal view, I feel that what's really going on is that far too many people are losing their licences, therefore they're no longer on the roads, and that of course means that the government is missing out on vital revenue from all of their fines. So again, that's just me. Feel free to let us know what you think it's all about in the comments section. But before you do, I would urge you to consider this next article, which I think backs up my belief pretty well. So here is the further evidence that this is all about the money. Aussie drivers face new road costs in major $160 million cash grab. Late fees for fines, including tolls and traffic offences, are expected to rise by more than 70% in Victoria. Millions of Australians will soon face drastically steeper fees as they fail to pay a fine on time under a new government plan aimed at recovering tens of millions of dollars in extra revenue. Nothing about improving road safety. They're blatantly telling you that it's all about revenue. Late fees for fines, including toll and traffic offences, are expected to rise by an incredible 70% in Victoria, with the state government warning that residents already have multiple opportunities to manage their payments before it's escalated. That's not actually entirely true, because basically you get a fine, which, you know, if you miss it in the mail, then you're in trouble. You get 28 days, and automatically after that time, they already start adding these fees on. It claims the increase is essential to recover the costs of enforcing unpaid fines. Really? Because now they've got AI, they've got number plate recognition cameras, so it all pretty much just happens automatically. So where are all these increased costs of enforcing fines? Anyway, asking for a friend. But legal experts have expressed concerns that the increase is going to hit the state's most vulnerable, many of whom are struggling to afford basic essentials, let alone fees worth hundreds of dollars. It comes after the Queensland government also considered drastic action earlier this year in response to what it said was a whopping $160 million worth of unpaid fines. Brilliant! Well done, Queenslanders. Okay, $160 million worth of outstanding fines. That's fantastic. Now, I hope people have been challenging them in the correct way, not just ignoring them, but we'll come back to that in a moment. Residents were warned that in response, vehicles could be seized or sold, their licenses could be suspended, and wages or bank accounts even garnished. Ooh, very scary stuff. In Victoria, the Justice and Community Safety Department has proposed a 73% increase to penalty reminder notice fees, lifting them from $29.20 to $50.40. Under the same proposal, the cost of a notice of final demand would rise from $151.50 to $186.80. These fees are added on top of fines like unpaid tolls or speeding tickets if the original amount isn't settled by the due date. Under the department's preferred plan to overhaul fines, regulations, fee revenue would rise by nearly $40 million to around $160 million, enough to cover the full cost of enforcing fines. The changes are expected to take effect next year. In the last financial year, get a load of this, the Allen government collected roughly $946 million. That's almost $1 billion in 1 year in total fine revenue, including income from road safety cameras, toll evasion penalties, on-the-spot fines, and other statutory infringements. $1 billion, and now they just want to add on some extra fees as well. I mean, yeah, it's just insane. I said that entire article, not one single mention of road safety anywhere. It's simply all about revenue raising. And all the while, the road toll still continues to climb. Yet the Allen government seems to think that in the midst of a cost of living crisis, this is the best step for them to be taking on behalf of the people of Victoria that they swore to actually serve. So please, as always, let's make sure that people write to their members of parliament, write to Jacinta Allen directly, write to your local, state member or your local member, and let them know what you think of this proposal. Print that article off and send a letter in your own words and make your voice known. That's the way that we stop this insanity from continuing. So, again, I want to make it really clear that we absolutely urge people, do not just ignore your fines, okay? You need to challenge them head on. And of course, the best way to do that is through that tried, tested, and proven 3-step process from Chapter 3 of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. As always, you'll find a link in the comment section and in the description. Now, I keep telling people, these guys have been around for 18 years. They have helped tens of thousands of Aussies to successfully challenge and beat their fines. I'm regularly reading out testimonials that members email us through, and I've even held up, actual court orders categorically proving that their information and strategies work. Okay, so please grab that book now and make sure you fight back against every unjust and unlawful fine. Now, speaking of beating fines, I am going to finish off tonight with another very heartwarming success story, and this one is about the Vaxxed bus getting their fine withdrawn recently. So if you didn't hear the story, the Vaxxed bus pulled up in the Blue Mountains Council area, I believe it was, and the mayor or whatever he was threatening that they were going to get a fine if they turned up in his city, and he didn't want the bus there. And of course they turned up and parked completely legally, and they were issued a fine. Of course they challenged it, and here is the result. Revenue New South Wales cancels the Vaxxed bus fine after public outrage. After weeks of public outrage, media exposure, and the support of honest councillors and everyday Australians, Revenue New South Wales have just confirmed the unlawful parking fine has been withdrawn. Their letter even admits the truth. The signage did not apply at the time the vehicle was parked. Exactly what we said from day one. But notice the line buried at the bottom. Blue Mountain City Council may decide to issue a replacement fine. Even after being caught out, they still want another swing at us. That says it all. This was never about parking. It was about silencing the truth and punishing those who dared to listen to vaccine-injured families. This decision isn't just a win for us, it's a win for the people who refuse to bow to corruption, censorship, and political bullying. Let this be a message to every council, politician, and bureaucrat. You can't fine away the truth. You can't intimidate those who stand for the injured. We'll keep driving, keep listening, and keep shining light where others try to hide the dark. So that's a fantastic result for the vaxxed guys, and a big congratulations for standing your ground and forcing that result. All right, and finally, just speaking of beating fines, don't forget we did recently announce our special extra bonus overview webinar that we're going to be running on Sunday, the 14th of November. As the name suggests, it is going to be an overview of some of our most important and popular topics from our webinar series this year. Of course, we're going to be covering fines, the Constitution, and court process paperwork and procedure. So if you want to make sure that you secure a spot for that, just go to the seminar page. There you'll find the webinars tab, and then you'll see the overview webinar, or of course there will be a link going up in the comments section as well. All right, and as I always do, I'm going to finish off with some of the latest memes to make sure people are thinking about what's going on at the moment. Now, obviously, we've been talking about this digital ID, and this is so important. Anything digital can be hacked, wiped, programmed, blocked, frozen, controlled, monitored, etc. Digital ID is the gateway to full control and must be stopped at all costs. Your freedom is at stake. Yes, you know, we've been talking about these fines, and they want to issue more fines and more fees and all the rest of it, and the good old police are out there raising revenue for the various state governments. And as it says there, just need to make sure your vehicle's safe to drive on the road, and yet of course that's the condition of the road. And I'm pretty sure that everybody watching this video has a road in their area that looks similar to that. Yes, here's another one. You know, we keep, hearing people go, oh, but I heard this on the mainstream media. I heard that on the mainstream media. Stop watching the mainstream media, people. Okay? As it says, would you blindfold yourself and eat whatever someone fed you? No. Then stop letting the media spoon feed you their lies, their rubbish, their propaganda, and of course, most importantly, their agenda. Yes, again, so true, and I'm sure that many of you who are watching this video can relate to this. Okay, it's crazy how some people need no proof to believe a lie, but then demand endless proof before they accept the truth. And that's why we keep still doing these videos week in, week out, sharing the truth in the hope that the population will eventually wake up and come to understand it. All right, and then finally is this one. I know that many people are still labelled with the conspiracy theorist brush. And again, let me spell it out for you. Being a conspiracy theorist means spending endless hours for months and years gathering as much information as possible from as many resources as possible and critically thinking about what that information means, then having people who do nothing but read headlines tell you that you're crazy. And again, I dare say many of you watching this can relate to that as well. So I'm going to leave things there for tonight. As always, I do urge you to make use of all of the various resources that are available to you to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. We really do need that this year more than ever before. As always, these videos are completely free to watch. You'll find them under it's either the videos or the reels tab. I think Facebook might have recently changed the name. So if you can't find it on the videos, have a look under the reels tab. You'll find it there. Otherwise, of course, you will find it on our YouTube channel and our BitChute channel as well. And they're all completely free to watch via there. And our radio shows, again, completely free. to listen to every Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. Just a very quick heads up, there's no live radio show next week and no live radio show the week after either, due to the Melbourne Cup holiday. But to make up for that, we will be doing 2 back-to-back shows on the 9th and the 16th of December. And that, of course, will be our final Christmas show. Now, also in regards to these videos, just a heads up, I'll be doing next week's video on Wednesday night, again, due to some prior commitments that I've already got, but then we'll go back to the standard Thursday night slot after that. Now, of course, if you're looking for more information than we do cover in those radio shows or these videos, do make sure you grab a copy of our book, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights. Of course, that Aussie Speeding Fines book for challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. And of course, we do know a lot of people are genuinely struggling financially now, so please stop throwing good money after bad at your unsecured loans, at your credit cards, your personal loans. You know, if you're struggling to pay those, get that book, follow the tried, tested, proven 4-step process, and you can discharge them or wipe them out very, very simply. So these are all available individually. You'll find links in the description. You can get them all, of course, as part of the combo pack. We do include the tote bag as a little bonus, no extra charge. Great to pop your shopping in and wander around the shop, spread the message. Speaking of which, make sure you grab our caps and beanies. There's wild weather all around the country. People in Sydney are melting. People in Victoria are getting blown away. So good old springtime weather. So grab your caps and beanies. People see the logo, they come up, they have a chat to you, and it is a great way to meet like-minded people. As I said, our actual live in-person events have finished now for this year. We do have that one final webinar, but if you've missed any of those, or if you want to refresh anything that we've covered before, do make sure you grab a copy of that home study course, which is a complete recording of one of our 2.5-day live events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks with sections to write notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. There's 17 DVDs which you can put in, pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home, and of course at your own pace, and revisit again and again over the years. So that's a great resource that's available to you as well. So I'm going to leave things there. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And again, reminder, no live show next Tuesday, and I will be back next Wednesday evening for the next live video update. Until then, take care.